Hi everybody, welcome back to class. It's Mark. Today's February 3rd, Monday. This begins the fourth week of our time together. I think I mentioned early on that this class moves very fast, so believe it or not, we have already reached the midpoint of English 111. For this week, we're going to be working on our second essay. This one is called A Rhetorical Analysis. The difference between the first essay and the second essay, of course, you're still using the same subject and the same core reading. The first essay was designed to give the reader an idea of what is this essay about. But for the rhetorical analysis, what we're going to do is take a detailed look at how the essay is structured. In other words, what language did the author include to make the article persuasive? Did they have a logical appeal? Did they have an emotional appeal? What did they do to structure their article to make it effective? That's the big difference. So let's take a look at what we have to do for this week. There are 3 chapters to be read. There is a new discussion board on everyday rhetorical analysis. I think you're going to enjoy this one quite a bit. Instructions on the rhetorical analysis paper. We are not doing a comparative analysis. I think the comparative analysis might still be mentioned somewhere in the class. I haven't found it, but we are doing the rhetorical analysis. There is a quiz over IvyTilt. I'll look at that in just a second. The core readings, of course, you're still using, as I mentioned, the same core reading you used the first time, and you'll be turning in the half draft. Now, as of yesterday, you had to turn in the final version of essay number 1, and I'll be reading those and grading them as quickly as possible. I'd like to promise you that I'll get them all back to you today on Monday, but I can't make that promise. I'll do my best, but you'll get those back as quickly as possible. So let's open up a couple of these and just take a quick look around. Everyday rhetorical analysis. This is the discussion board. Excuse me, I got the wrong one. My apologies. I guess I need more coffee. Let's go ahead and take a look at the quiz first, because it's in order. 10 multiple choice questions. Of course, you get 2 attempts, and it will only record your highest score. So if you didn't do as well as you possibly could have on the first version, go ahead and take it again. I have no issue with that. Here we go. Now, as you can tell, this discussion board is designed to get you to think about language choice and how you phrase something to another person based on who that person is. And this can be creative. You don't necessarily have to follow these prompts if one of them doesn't appeal to you. You can go ahead and make your own. And this can be based on a real event, or you could simply make stuff up. Sometimes that's a little more fun. So let's just take a look at one of the options. A teenager describes a party to his or her parent. The teenager describes the same event to his or her friend. Now, obviously, a teenager speaking to a parent is going to downplay some of the craziness that might have gone on at this hypothetical party, but they might play up that same craziness when describing it to his or her friend. Think about the word choice that you would use if you were the person in that situation. And you can use any of these, as I mentioned, or you can come up with your own. You can be funny, you can be serious, it doesn't really matter, but what I really want you to do is focus on word choice. Why do you choose the words that you do? And this is designed to get you thinking about your next writing project, where you'll be looking at the original core reading and doing an analysis of why did the writer choose the words that they did. Of course, your original post should be at least 200 words, and you're going to want to reply to at least 2 other students with about 100 words. This draft needs to be slightly longer than the draft that you turned in for writing project 1. Note your half draft should be 450 to 600 words, and when we're done with the final version, we're going to hit a word count of about 1,000 words. Just like before, once you turn in your half draft, I will read it. I will send it back to you with some of my thoughts, some of my comments on what you could do to make it a little bit better. You're also going to post it into another discussion board so other people in the class can read it, review it, and give you their thoughts as well. The particulars, we need to include a purpose statement of about 150 words. If you want to go over that, that's fine. I think I've mentioned this before, but anytime you see a word count mentioned for a writing project, I will never complain if you go over. I certainly will complain if you go under, but so far that really hasn't been a problem in this class. You do want to include a little bit of a brief summary of what the original article is about. That would probably be the first paragraph, maybe paragraph and a half. But for the body of the essay, the majority, you're going to want to spend a lot of time focusing on pulling out particular quotes, emphasizing word choice, and telling me and anyone else who might be reading this why this works and how this works. We are only using APA. You can disregard if it does say MLA. And again, this will be due on, flip over my calendar, half draft will be due on February 9th by 11:59 p.m. And I'll get those back to you as quickly as possible. Don't forget to post it both in the discussion board and also to me. Let's take one more look around and see what else we might have to do. We talked about the discussion board. That will also be due on February 9th. Please review this one. It's very important. I'm not going to go through it now because, as I've mentioned before, I try to keep these videos fairly short, but this should tell you everything you need to know. Don't forget about the IVTilt quiz. As I've already mentioned, you're using the exact same core reading that you did for writing project 1. Your initial post into the discussion board on everyday rhetorical analysis, and then submitting the half draft. I believe that wraps it up for this week, but you know what? If I didn't cover something that you have a question on, or you simply want to chat, best way to stay in touch with me is by text. That number again is 812-498-4200. Again, that's my personal cell phone. I try to answer messages as soon as I get them. If you text me really late at night, you might not get an answer until the following morning, but I do always reply. That's it for this week. Hope everyone has a great one, and I will see you around.